you guys better. There we go. All right, so we're gonna begin recording. Thank you for that. So I'm keeping my agenda, you guys, because I love to talk. So it's just a part of me. So if you catch me looking down, I want to make sure I'm staying on track. But I want to welcome you and say thank you guys for coming to I want to say the Insiders Event 2.0, I guess you could say. We are so excited to just update you on what we're working on. We see that there's some people who are sponsors on here, as well as some who are new. And we have some teammates. So I'm just really excited to just tell you thank you. Thank you for coming on. So today we're going to keep it as short as we can because we appreciate you coming on and want to be respectful of your time. We're going to talk about the mission today, as well as you're going to find out a little bit more about the project, some behind the scenes stories. You're going to meet the producer, director, and screenwriters, as well as a sneak peek of the project that we're working on, Amazing Grace. You'll hear some next steps that we're going to be doing. You're going to find out how you can get involved. We have a few ways that you can get involved. Actually, matter of fact, let me share that really quick with you. Okay. We have different sponsorships. So we have the Faith Builders packages, we have specialty packages and investment packages. So we'll explain a little bit more about what those are. And also, we're going to show you some perks and things along the way. So where are we at? So after we're talking about that, we're going to also let you know how to stay connected. We're going to answer some questions along the way. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And we'll try to keep up with those and answer them. And then we're also going to add the sponsorship link in our chat so that you have a chance to, at any point in time, to click on them. And we also have a QR code that will be on our on each slide. And at any time, if you want to just check and find out more about the project, you can scan there. Let me stop my little sharing. Perfect. Okay, so I'm excited. I want to introduce myself. I'm Kathleen Robinson. I am the producer as well as the director of Amazing Grace, and I'll also be playing Tarita. Let's see. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I'm so excited. I have been in film for around a little over 33 years of experience, from in front of the screen, behind the screen. I went to Full Sail University just to study film. I have a bachelor's of science with a major in digital cinematography. Let's see. Gosh, I'm just so excited. A mother of four and a strong believer in excellence and using what God has given you to advance the kingdom the best way you can. And that's a little bit about me. Tarita, do you want to just introduce yourself?
So, hello, everybody. So glad y'all are here. Many of you probably know who I am, but I am Tarita St. Julian, the executive producer of Amazing Grace, the writer of Amazing Grace, and also an author. And y'all know my story, some of you, that I did not set out to pursue film. I was working in the corporate world, and God just turned things around. Just in an instant, downloaded a word and began to move on it. So that's a bit about my story. So we're gonna keep it moving. Come on, Kat.
All right, so I want to let you know, we'll talk a little bit about our mission. So our mission right now, what we're planning on doing for Amazing Grace is it's planned to be a nationwide theatrical release. Hi, I see you guys get on. It's a theatrical release right now. We're planning on having it over 800 theaters nationwide. So we're really excited about that. And we're also, this is also a feature film for those who don't know. And we really want to make sure that we are truly just exposing the spiritual battles that are in this world right now and really calling people back to Christ and back to obedience and what that looks like. So I'm really, really excited about that and where we're going as far as, where our plan on going. I'm really going to start breaking that down throughout today. So Trina, if you just want to jump in really quick and just talk about the film, that would be great.
Yeah, so so many people ask, Trina, what is Amazing Grace about? And it is I just cannot wait for y'all to see it. Like it's a complicated story because our lives are complicated, but it's such a powerful message. So you might see us posting online about books or about a battle or about unity because it's really about our lives. And we are so amazed to see the things that that's happening right now in the world and the need for Amazing Grace. But it is about a woman who realizes that her family is headed toward a path of destruction. Mainly, it started with her son. But through that, she began to understand a greater call for discipleship. Hence, God called her to write a book. And so she begins to work on a book. Well, her husband was not quite ready for those changes yet. And he was a party man from Louisiana. And so watching that family try to navigate that journey and the struggles and all the issues that come about when you're trying to do what God called you to do. So our center focus is obedience, and just being willing to be obedient to God can sometimes cause a lot of strife and a lot of issues sometimes in our lives. But watching the amazing grace of God intercede and allow you to accomplish something that you know there's no way you could accomplish on your own, it's so powerful. So we want to inspire and encourage other people in their lives to kind of understand that obedience is hard. We're walking that journey out right now. It is hard, but when God tells you to do something, just do it and let him handle the rest. So that's it. Yay.
Thank you. I'm so excited. So we're going to show you, we did promise to show you a little sneak peek. We actually shot footage specifically for our marketing campaign. And we believe in excellence, and we really want those to see that also. We have so many great actors that have come aboard, so many great team members, and we just want to share a little bit of what we worked on to help show others what it means to be a part and to view Amazing Grace. So let me pull this up. I'm so excited to share with you guys. We're going back and forth. I know we're showing you visuals on visuals, but I can't wait. So can everyone see my screen? Yes? Okay, here we go.
What is this? Get your stuff. Let's go! Come on, Avery! What'd I tell you about this?
Did y'all see Michael J. Patterson and all of our amazing actors knock that out of the park? Oh my goodness. Oh, that was so good. But y'all, when we watch that, it stings. You know, I remember being in the room praying over my son during that time, praying for my husband. I can still see myself in my old house down on my knees, screaming out to God, where are you? You know, and I know he's there, but I can still see me. So when I see moments like that and the pain, you can see when Michael J. Patterson, the actor that's playing my husband, when he couldn't even reach out his hand to shake the actor's hand right there, that tells you a lot about the wounds that he was dealing with. And I just, again, I cannot wait for y'all to see what God does. But anyway, I wanted to tell you a little bit about how this journey began. So I was, as some of you may have heard, I was praying for my son. And I got on my knees one day. I was away from the Lord, but I remembered God. And I gave God my earthly list for whatever my son had done that day. And I said, God, I need help with his grades, his behavior, and his attitude. And God placed upon my heart, if you want him to be a man of God, you better be a woman of God. And the thing about that I may not have said before is that I had given God my earthly list, but God went completely above that list and went straight to him. straight to the source. And y'all, I was so actually afraid when I got that moment that when I got that word, that I knew I had to make a change that day. And so I began to change. And God took somebody who was so unqualified and he called them to write a book shortly after. And I remember my daughter, when she was 1, she began to read. And so by the time she was 4, that's when I was working on the book. And she ran in the room and she said, Mom, I want to write a book too. And y'all, I was stressed out. And I said, yeah, sure. When you grow up, you can write a book. Well, a family member sent her a book writing kit in the mail. You know how God does things. And so I was helping her with her little book while I'm working on my book, having no idea that her book would be published before mine. God would send her out to read it in schools and many things like that. So it has been just a journey of obedience. And part of the film, you'll get to see what that struggle looked like. And again, how his grace stepped in.
Tell us a little bit about the publishing company.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, so I thought the book, I was so glad to finish it. I thought, okay, that's it. I'm done. And I was in the house in prayer one day, and it just came out of nowhere. It felt like the Lord placed upon my heart that we were supposed to have a movie. And I thought, what? And the words Amazing Grace were just stirring up in me. And I couldn't get over it. So anyway, I wrote it down in my journal. I said, I'm gonna park it there. I didn't want anybody to read it because it just would make me look like I was crazy, because that dream was just too big for somebody like me. And immediately when I went downstairs, I got a call from my publishing company, and the lady said, Tarita, we would like to turn your story into a movie. And oh my goodness, I felt sorry for that lady. I was crying up a storm, just weeping. Oh my goodness, God just called me. But in that, I knew that wasn't the time. I wasn't supposed to go that path, but I knew that was confirmation that Amazing Grace was coming. And I began praying for God to send a producer and a director and show me everything. And God didn't just send them, he sent y'all. It's just been an amazing journey, just watching how he's, done everything. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit. Can y'all see me okay? I want to make sure my screen's, I'm not sharing. Okay. So I was going to talk about a little bit about from that step forward. So I thought it was really neat. One thing that I don't know if you guys caught through that was the importance of obedience. And obedience is super, super important. I feel like am I still sharing? Can y'all see my?
It's just,
okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, great. So I just think it's really important that y'all catch the fact that it really takes just a simple act of obedience. And Tarita, you always say, God does not qualify the call. Was it God does not call the qualified?
He qualifies the call. Yeah.
And I just thought that was just so amazing. Out of anything, as long as you're obedient to what God has called you to do, that's all that matters. It's not going to be easy all the time. It's not. But it's not meant for that. It's just meant for you to do what God called you to do. And if you're a parent, like, why'd you ask me? Because I said so, right? Because he knows what's in our best interest. He knows far more than what we know. And so with that, I just thought that was really, really important that y'all catch that moment. Now, with that, right, she's going through there. Now it's my turn, right? She's praying for that. I moved to Huntsville. You guys, I did not, I'll tell you, I did not want to go to Huntsville. I was kicking and screaming, but my husband's job brought me here. And I mean, now I realize that there's a reason behind that. Of course, we don't always do what we want our parents or father to do. And then we realize, oh, when you're an adult, that's why he did what he did. So I moved to Huntsville. And through that process, I was actually working on another feature film I'm not for sure some of you guys know, but I was working on a feature film and I was actually in the project as well. And I needed to train for this specific character. So I don't like going to the gym, but I need to go to the gym. So while I was there working with my husband, I'm like, you're going to help me. This is a team effort. And we're in there. And it just so happened one day, God had really started to download that there was a gentleman that I needed to talk to. And I love how he works. So this gentleman specifically looked like the character that we needed for this project. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to talk to him. Like, I don't just go up to random guys. I'm married. Like, I don't want to talk to people in the gym. And it was just so amazing how God just kept pushing on my heart. And it's funny how we just sometimes are really disobedient and just don't do. But God's like, I know you, and you need this. And it just so happened after all these excuses, because you guys, I was talking out loud. Good thing I had Bluetooth earbuds in because everyone would have thought I was crazy. But he brought him. I'm like, oh, he'll leave. It'll be fine. The man's getting ready to leave, and he comes across the gym and asks a random stranger, "Can I pray for you?" And I was like, okay, God, I know you really want me to talk to this gentleman. So give me the words to say because I don't know what to say. And I briefly mentioned I had a project that I was working on, and he didn't know anything about that. And he said, I don't know, but do you have a church home? And I'm like, I just moved here. And I just thought it was amazing that he was like, well, I want to invite you to my church. And I'm like, I asked him the name and he said The Rock. I thought that was amazing because that, as a child, that hit me. And it was an area, and grew up, there was an area in our church that was like for big kids, right? And I had such a desire and a passion to just elevate Christ. And I attached those two to that name. And I went there and I never saw this gentleman again, but he just started I mean, so many things came up. I was drawn to this gentleman, and I just didn't know why. I saw him dancing and I'm like, well, maybe I should be dancing because I have a background in that. But Lord, just let your words flow. And through time, we ended up finding out that Charita knew the same gentleman, and he was the only one within this large church that knew both of our mutual interest in film and our desire. She had a desire for it. I had a passion for it and educated for it, and she was a writer, and he had connected us. And we can go on, and you'll find out in the emails God's testimony through this all. But I just thought, how amazing is it how God really just is in the details? There's no such thing as coincidences. And he really just sat there and aligned all of these moments, and he's working behind the scenes. And we're just so grateful for the things that we don't know that God is doing, and the areas that he's working when we don't see and we don't know, the rooms that that's been spoken, the words that's spoken about us. I'm sorry about my words, but the things that are spoken when we're not seen. So I'm so grateful for that. And I love how God's throughout this process has been aligning a lot of things, which you'll hear about later. But I just wanted to talk about that. And I know, Charita, from this point forward, we started editing. I mean, we immediately started working and went to the next step. I mean, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because y'all, we want this to also just encourage you on your walk, because being a Christian, especially when you're a Christian and you're deciding you're going to disciple people, we're going to do what Jesus has called us to do. It's a journey, and we have to learn how to look for him at times and trust him, and it can be very hard. And so, but I often think about faith without works is dead. I'm one. I believe in standing in faith, but I also have got to put action to that faith. And so when God gave me the call, I held on to it, because it's not always the right time to move. I look for things. You might have seen an email where I sometimes talk about breadcrumbs, and it's little things that I just feel like God is placing before me to show me this is the direction to go. And so there was somebody that had told me about a certain software to use to edit script. And so I began to write in the script. And again, I prayed for Kathy. God brought her here. He connected us. So we began to edit the script. And after we edited the script, we weren't setting out to send it to film. What's it called, Kathy? Film festivals. Like, that wasn't our goal. We just want to get the message out there. So we only sent it out to 2 because we wanted to make sure that script was really solid and it was good. And so we sent it out to the first 2, one of them being a major film festival, and it was actually selected right away. And so that was another confirmation that we were on the right path and to continue moving forward in what God was calling us to do. So, yeah.
I guess I love this. So, well, a little bit past that, you also got pulled out of your career. Like most people, I know we had the film festival, and you kind of went a different route than what people would normally feel was not a blessing. So, can you share a little bit about that?
People, okay. I have a hard time talking without talking about I call her my auntie Joyce Meyer, but Joyce Meyer. I love Joyce Meyer, love her ministries, and she's actually my mentor. And she doesn't know it. She just is my mentor. But I found myself in a situation where the company I was working for, God had allowed me before to be the top representative in the company. And I found where I was at this particular situation, it was a complicated season. And it felt like the blessing of the Lord was moving off of it. And so I had to make the decision to go with Amazing Grace. I looked at it, I was like, Kathy's here. There's a team God's sending. We're going to move forward. And so that was difficult. So I wanted to share that with y'all too, to let you know that sometimes God pushes away the old when he's sending you to the new thing. So just go ahead, trust him with it, no matter how difficult the situation may look. So, yeah.
Yeah. So with that too, I think it's really talking about faith. We're really trying to bring through this. I'm sorry, I'm trying to, like, my brain is going through so much right now and I'm so excited. But I think what we're really trying to push across is the fact that faith without works is dead. And so I love that you took something, one, just being obedient with the script, and being vulnerable, you guys, because I don't know if she got a chance to share this, but this is based on her life and her story and her walk with her husband and her children and her son going through all this and really, battling between, God, what do I do and how do I do it? And really she went from what would seem like a failure, in the mind, is into, okay, God, what's next? And in this next journey. And it's different than saying you're going to do something and change than it is of doing it. And that's what we did. We went full force, full time, 8, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week, see each other at church. We're still talking about it. But it's just, I want to bring that point across, is that we really take it seriously. We take spreading the gospel seriously and this film seriously, because if this is what God's called us to do, we're not going to have to do it. It's just not in our DNA, literally. And so what I was so excited just going through that, and watching my faith grow through her faith, just really ignited this change. And we began saying, okay, let's go. We started a team, which was just two ladies that said yes. We had Khadijah and Leela, and we had a DP that we've worked on a couple of other projects together, who's worked on multiple different things. But he came on board, amazing cinematographer, I should say DP, director of photography. And gosh, we had another gentleman. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but I don't know if you've heard of Collide Media. So Bob Elder, he's another one of our teammates that came on as a marketing advisor, although he's the CEO of Collide Media. But they've done projects like The Blind, and they've helped with Under Freedom. They've done so many distributors that we've gone through and talked to. But we just thought it was amazing. We also partnered with the North Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association came on board, and they were really excited to work with us, as well as the Film Commission. And we were really just moving, like God was just starting to line things up. And then there was a pause. And it doesn't seem, like the right thing to do when you're all of a sudden moving in the right direction. And then God says, stop, I got something else for you to do. We actually stopped and worked on, there was a film called The Forge, and it really spoke about discipleship and the power of that. And we felt like right now that was important. So what we're doing, it's not about us making a film. It's not about our titles at all. It's about sharing the gospel. And we felt like this was a time that people really needed to hear and see this message. And it was done with excellence. And so we paused and we decided to rent out theaters.
I don't have the details down exactly, but someone took this upon themselves. They heard the announcement. A husband and a wife took it upon themselves to do it in Alabama, and they did it. And they said, "Hey, do you guys want to help us with the Coke and the popcorn? We'll do the tickets if you can help us with the Coke and the popcorn." And we did that with them. It was such a huge success. They said, "Oh my gosh, the theater was packed out. We want to do it again." So here's a couple that is just driving the inner city kids who normally would never see a movie. And we want everyone in the world to see The Forge. It'll change your life. And so please be praying, everybody, on those dates that God would move.
I want to add one thing, because y'all, that was just, I wish I had time to really share the details of that, because that again was a faith walk. God, we felt like he was placing that on our heart, but how in the world were we going to rent these theaters and pay for all these people to eat and all that? And because we wanted to buy maybe popcorn for some, but when we got a second theater, how do we buy popcorn for two theaters? And some people were bringing children in from inner city kids that they were wanting to disciple, and we didn't want one group to have something to eat, not the other. So reached out to Pastor Jack Hibbs. So he said, "Oh my goodness, I'll take care of it." He took care of large popcorn and drinks for everybody who attended. It was such a blessing. And hearing the stories afterwards about people that gave their life to the Lord or returned back to church from watching a film, that is the power of how God can work through media. But through that, we met Evan Dawson, and Evan became our digital marketing strategist. After the production, I was sending out an email to some people to thank them and different things like that. And he responded back and found out about Amazing Grace and decided to come aboard and just really help to champion this project. And it has just been amazing working with him. And again, that was another breadcrumb, another just confirmation from the Lord that you're on the right track. I know it's hard, but keep moving forward because God's got this. His hand is on Amazing Grace.
This whole process has been out of the ordinary way that you would do a film project, but this has been, step by step by step process. If you guys could take it off mute, because I know you might be sick of hearing us talking and you have a lot of questions. So I would love to just hear. If I don't know if you want to raise your hand, if you just want to speak, we're really open to answer any questions that you might have before we move forward.
Anything.
Say again.
I said anything that y'all want to ask.
Ask or state too.
I don't have a question, but hey, what's going on? But I just wanted to thank you both for your faith, for your faithfulness to the Lord. You are true women of God, and you are pushing through a very difficult project. Whenever somebody has a dream or a vision or an idea, God steps in and he knows the outcome. He knows the end from the beginning, but you two are actually walking through and you've gone through valleys with this project, and this project is not yet ready. We're still waiting for the Lord to provide so that this entire film, it's a feature film, meaning it's a full length movie that's going to be in movie theaters, right? Like it's going to take everybody's effort and all of your talents and your skills that God has raised you up with over decades to put you in such a time as this. And to be able to be a part of this is such an honor. And I'm asking him to continue to teach me things and to help me to help you all. And as you were just talking earlier, I'm just praying, God, please let this movie get made, because there's such a message in this film. Whether you've read the books or you know what the story is about, with that clip, it's an amazing clip. And I'm even, maybe y'all that are watching this can type in the chat if you got maybe a little bit choked up or you just felt something like this is going to be making such an impact with families across the country and across the world that we have no idea the impact that this can make. So just thank you so much for your diligent hard work, even when it's hard, pushing through.
Oh, thank you,
Evan. That everybody you see, Evan Dawson. If that doesn't, he's the one that God sent to be our digital marketing strategist. Like if you can't see what he's doing, like it's just amazing. How did we connect with somebody that absolutely loves the Lord, that God has put in a position that knows how to market and do things? Like it just stirs us up. So thank you, Evan. We appreciate you so much. All right.
Anyone else that want to chime in before we move forward? So I see silence, so I'm going to keep going. But if you want to jump on and I cut you off, I'm sorry. I'll jump in or just wait for your question and we'll add it later. We'll make sure there's nothing in the chat. Okay, good. All right, so let's move forward. Let me close this out. Where are we at? We're flying through this. We're going to have questions at the end here. Okay, so with that, I want to find ways that you can I want to share how you can partner with us. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go out of this one and move this over. I know I keep bouncing back and forth.
Okay, you're doing great.
All right, can you see my desktop?
We can.
Okay, so if you go to, matter of fact, I'm going to copy this really quick. and I'm going to place it in the chat. All right, so in the chat, you will see this link right here. Let me close out of that. This is the Amazing Grace sponsorship page. So you can actually go to the main page if you want to see the full video, the marketing, the Insiders event. There's a small video prior to that. You can go in, see a little bit more, hear a little bit more from it, and then it actually will bring you to this page. This is our sponsorship page. Now, we have two different type of sponsorship packages. One is geared more towards our faith-based package. I'm gonna see if it'll bring me there. Hold on, what?
I think you can just scroll.
Oh, there we go. I'm right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already set up. So we have multiple different packages here. You saw in the very beginning, from our believer package to our witness package, our advocate. It keeps going up, but these are really based on the inspiration behind the project. And then if you're interested in more, we actually have a specialty packages, those ones. And all of these have a lot of perks that you'll get along the way, as far as like behind the scenes stuff, tickets to the red carpet, premieres, you'll get virtual tours. We have the list, I don't know if you can see it here, but as it goes up, there's like an immense amount. It just starts to increase. So there's we call them extras, or I call them background actors, opportunities and logos and your shout outs. I mean, it just continues to move and move up. So if you could just take the time to scan this, if you can go to that link, it's the QR code that's going to be on these things, or click on this link and just browse through this, watch, and register for the Insiders event. There's so much going, but I just wanted to share where to find it and how to find it and the different packages, because it will start on this one, but there is more. It is amazinggracefeaturefilm.com/sponsor, if you can see that sponsor. Otherwise, you can still go to the Amazing Grace page and find out more information about that. So let me stop my sharing. I just want to make sure I share that with you. Let's see.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and pick up from there on a little notes here. So on what's next, y'all? Oh my goodness. So okay, we get to these places sometimes where we're thinking, okay, God, like we pray, y'all. We pray before we got on this call with y'all today. Like we pray every time, every day before we get on through the day. Like we're really seeking the Lord throughout this whole process. We have to do it His way. We have to have Him leading. And so we're kind of pausing for a moment and we said, what do we do next? And so an opportunity has presented itself where we can shoot some additional scenes. And not going to reveal too much right now. Stay tuned. Y'all hear more later, but y'all are really the first to kind of hear about this. So get ready. There might be production coming up in the Huntsville, Alabama area, maybe Athens area again within the next couple months or so. And with this opportunity, we're going to be able to release this to a distributor or two for them to take a look at, to try to get funding as well. So we are so excited. So the opportunity was there, but then we were thinking, how in the world are we going to pay for this? Because we have some funds set aside for this and that. And a lady that works in business in our area decided she was going to fund that. And so that cost will be taken care of. So y'all, again, that just showed another confirmation that God is moving. And then I have to tell this because one of our sweet teammates named Andrea, she had sent me a message and said one day, hey, I've got a drone operator. And I thought, okay, great. But, right then we weren't really in a position to be able to film additional scenes at that moment. Well, about the next day or so, we find out about this opportunity that's coming up. And so we found out we might need a drone operator. And so I called her back, and the drone operator works for or has shot scenes for one of the distribution companies that we might be working with. So God is he's just amazing. We're just so excited that we hope that y'all are behind those screens just jumping up and shouting and grinning like we are on the inside. But anyway, I just had to tell y'all that. Hey,
Michael! Yes, and with that too, there's so much more. So not only did we have that alignment coming up, I mean, I don't know if you understand. Like, I love to talk, and I'm speaking so fast because there is so much, guys. There's so many alignments and like testimonies, and God like almost showing, hey, this is what it would take in real life to do this project. Like, it almost could feel impossible, and then boom, overflow every single time. You know, it's like strengthening our faith and the people around us, just to watch God move and intertwine. And I mean, again, I'm in film. I've been doing it for over 33 years, but you know, I've been mainly at home working with my kids, helping, you know, with indie projects and here and there. But then all of a sudden, he starts lining someone like Bob Elder, and he starts lining up with people like Tommy, who's our DP, who's worked on projects. We had the opportunity to line with some Justin Tolley, who's worked on projects for major areas. And it's like God is starting to just pull, like, not even us searching. We're not even searching for this. We're just being obedient. And then God is like, here's somebody. They'll help you. Here's somebody. They'll help you. And before we know it, we're in this circle of people who are really taking it serious, and they know what it means to share God's gospel and to do it with excellence. So it's just so exciting. And it's coming from me so excited about what God is doing, because I have so many things to share, and we're just going to have to keep doing these little Zooms so we can start showing you little things at a time. But one of the next steps that we really want to do is shoot the project. We want to shoot the film. But it's really, really important for us to do this because there are a lot of children involved in this project. You know, the book is called Training Your Children to Remain in the Vine, right? But it's really about not only obedience, but inner wounds. But it started with her saying, God, you know, if you want him, Tarita, to be a man of God, you better be a woman of God. And her walking that out. But it's really the pain that was and the struggle of her son. And so you're going through this whole film, just watch that struggle of all of these wounds and how, you know, our actions affect our children. And so there's a lot of kids that have really devoted time to this. And they're growing. They're growing really, really fast. I mean, I see them on these videos, and then I see their Facebook posts and their new headshot, and I'm like, ooh, they've grown like 4 inches. So it's really important for us to go ahead and shoot this as quick as possible, because they put in the work. They've really tried. Not only did they audition, but they've been training, and they've really been putting their heart into this. So that's one thing, is our urgency to get it shot. But the time frame that we're looking for, of course, we plan our way. God has his own. But we thought one time, and God's kind of moving us and aligning. We're following breadcrumbs, but it looks like our goal is to shoot it summer of 2026, to give us time to really fine tune it and get the right people that's aligned with this project to make sure it's with an excellence. So that's 2 of our things that are really important. 1, making sure we shoot this because the kids are growing. 2, the 2026 summer timeframe. And that is one I want to bring into our next point, actually, which is our budget. Let me move over and share a little bit. I share my screen and move it on over. Our next step. So with that, we have 2 phases. We have our first phase, which is really us partnering together and working through the pre-production costs, the hiring of our crew and contract, and really shooting the project. The second phase of that is we really want to focus on the marketing, the distribution. And I know this might sound weird when you're thinking about a Christian project, but all project, you know, it doesn't matter if you have a great film if no one knows. You can know all about Christ yourself, but we are meant to be on the hill and to be a light. And so we really have to take what God has given us and then take that and be a light into the world and get it into the theaters so that we can share the gospel and that they can see it. And with that, we actually, like I said, I don't know if you're familiar with Justin Tolley. He worked on our budget for this project, and again, we're doing this with excellence. And so we want someone who's worked on major projects to take a look at the script and say, what do we actually need to get this done, and to steward the money that was raised correctly. And with that, he broke down our production cost. And that production is pre-production development, pre-production, and production cost. And that right now is $2,990,636. I'm horrible with saying those numbers. So that is our pre-production cost. And we have raised a good bit so far. We're excited. We still have a long way to go, but we've been blessed so far for a lot of people to just come in and see our ads and say, I want to hear more. And we are so thankful for that. And then the second portion you see here is our marketing. Now, that is not done by Justin Toley. That's done specifically just going off the rule of thirds in film. Most times your production, your P&A or your print and advertisement cost is about half your budget or more, normally like 2/3 of your budget. So that 199,375.7 is our actually about 2/3 of the budget. And that's just because we want to make sure it costs to get it in films. It costs to get it in theaters and to share the message. So that's where we're at. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I'm pulling up here? Okay. Yeah. Actually, Tarita, do you want to talk about these a little bit?
Sure, we can flow through this quickly. So, it's amazing to think about how much films actually cost, but the impact they can make not only on the lives, but also financially. So you can see here, faith-based films like I Can Only Imagine, it had a $7 million budget, and it ended up grossing around $83 million, which is just amazing. And we often think about how not just the profiting of that 83 million, but taking that money, putting it back into the kingdom of God so that you can continue to make films and be a blessing and do all the things that God's called you to do. I sometimes think about the scripture, I'm paraphrasing it, but the money of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. And so God's people, we need funds to be able to accomplish kingdom things upon the earth. Go ahead to the next one.
Oops, hold on. There we go.
So this is The Forge. I hope y'all got to see that last year. Michael J. Patterson, who's on, was in that. Just, again, knocked that out of the park. It had a $5 million budget, profits exceeding $40 million and climbing. Now, that was the last time we looked at it. There's no telling where that number is right now. Let's move on to the last one. And do y'all recognize this face? It's not Jesus, but he could sure play Jesus. So the chosen has become a crowd-funded phenomenon. It is impacting over 300 million lives worldwide. Even people who don't even know the Lord, not even Christians yet, they're watching The Chosen. It's impacting them. It's doing a stirring. And I've seen children that have watched it, and they all of a sudden they connect more with the Word of God because it helps to bring it to life. And we know it's not exactly biblical, but it still helps them when they read to be able to see Jesus as really somebody walking the earth. And anyway, I love how God works through whatever way that he wants to work, but especially how he can work through media and film.
We have one more small video for you, but I'm really about God's timing. We've really been following, both of us, the breadcrumbs. And I just wanted to share how honored I am to be a part of a project like this. It's one thing to be able to just do a project because it's a job or you're equipped to do it. But it's another when you're called to a project, when all you can do is think, and it's in your dreams, and it's what you think about all the time. And then not only to do it, but to watch God move through it in supernatural ways. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but if you really think about it, in a lot of film projects, there's a lot of on set, there is hundreds of people. Just think about the credits that are at the end of a film. There's hundreds of people that come together to tell a story. And when you have that many people with that many different personalities, all in one space, under time constraints and money constraints and different personalities, and all in one space, there tends to be confusion. You tend to see prideful nature come up sometimes, unfortunately. There's going to be people that are going to feel left out, or there's a sense of chaos and bustle and very self-minded in the entertainment industry, unfortunately. But I have to say, you guys, we had, in a small amount of time, we had a large crew that was supernaturally brought to us. Nothing but talented people who own top marketing people, who are production assistants and gaffers, but they own one of the top marketing people, marketing companies, people who are well over equipped coming in and serving just because they believe in this project, and people coming from all over for food and lodging and travel, everything covered when it looked like we wouldn't have it. And with that on set, there was such a peace into it and just tranquility, I guess you could say. Like there was no way for God to there's no way for you not to realize that God was on set. We didn't leave or allow any room for the enemy to come in and cause confusion. And I just have to say that to me knows 100% that he's got his hands in this.
Yeah.
From the finances to the actors to the crew, just from this, not even including what we have set up so far. But I just want to say I'm just so grateful to actually be on a set that people don't not only say they're Christians, but they walk it out and they live it. So I'm honored to be a part of a project like that. Now, Tarita, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, okay. We're going to wrap up because we don't want to keep y'all, and we've already been on a little bit, but Kathy, just to add to what you said, I just kept thinking about, it just kept pointing me back to you. And I'm trying to cry, but I just kept thinking, so thankful. That's it. Just thankful.
I know you're about to cry. Oh, I love you. Thank you.
Love you.
Michael, I saw your video. Did you have anything to say before we jump off?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm incredibly thankful to you guys. This is a supernatural. God is all over this film, and I just know that we're going to get more than we think we are, exceedingly more when it comes to the coverage of the film. So I can't wait, and I just want to say thank you all, the whole team. It's like family. And it's not a cliche to say that. No, really, it is a family, and I just can't wait to start filming with you guys. That's it. Miss you, and I can't wait to work.
Oh, you guys, he puts 100% into what he does. He's so talented. There's so many talented actors and crew members on this. Michael, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You guys, he is right. It really is a family. Because again, we want to walk this life out. We're not just trying to share it on the big screen, but this is a lifestyle. Yeah. So with that, I have one more short video, and then you guys can head out for the day. All right, you guys, I want to say thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful, 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 wonderful evening.
Bye-bye. Thank y'all. Love y'all.
Imagine being a witness to this family's battle. A battle for help, a cry in the darkness, and then becoming a beacon of hope for so many others, even millions. Will you be that beacon of hope? Will you help bring this story to life?